Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. So this year in our Kaishora class, we discussed deity worship, the processes, why we do it, and how the temple does it, how we can do it at home, and we will cover all these topics today in our presentation. If you remember last year, we also had one on the holy name, and so this year is on deity worship, and this is much more practical than last time. It was more technical. So first, we'd like to dedicate the seminar to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of our International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So this is the agenda. We will start with the invocation, the chanting of the Purusha Suktam. Then we will discuss what it means. Then we'll go into why we do deity worship and how it's different from idol worship. Who is like a Brahminical culture. Pancharatrika Vidi and Bhagavad Vidi, we'll discuss that as well. Then we'll go into the process. The process is very important. That's what most people care about. And we will discuss the entire day, like from the morning to the night, and all the different things we need to do the deities. And we'll end with the elementary concepts of astronomy, which is connected to deity worship because we try to figure out these different dates and for festivals where we're going to have heightened service for the Lord. So it's important to know when these days fall and what we need to do on them. So we're going to be starting with Abhijit discussing the Purusha Suktam.
Hare Krishna everyone, my name is Abhijit. We would like to begin our deity worship seminar by invoking the prayers to the Supreme Purusha who accepts our offerings through deity worship. I will briefly inform everyone about the significance of these prayers. So the Purusha Suktam comes from the Rig Veda, and it has 10 verses that describe the mystical process of the creation of this universe. It also establishes the supremacy of the Lord as the Purusha. So the hymn begins with an explanation of the Purusha's features, who has unlimited heads, arms, and feet, and pervades the earth in entirety, and he also extends beyond the mathematical rules of counting on our 10 fingers. Arjuna confirms the existence of the universal form in the Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter. So the second verse of this hymn explains the astronomy of the universe. The universe is split into 1/4, which is manifest as the material world, and the rest, which is unmanifest, in the form of the spiritual world. Bhagavad Gita 15.17 Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatmetyudahritaha Yolokotrayamavisya Vibhartyavyaya Ishvaraha gives the confirmation that Krishna enters into the Trilokas and rules over them. The Trilokas, namely, are Svarga, Martya, and Patala. Martyaloka is the loka we live in, and is also known as Bhuloka. It has a radius of 250 million yojanas, which when converted to miles is 2 billion miles. So the third and fourth verses explain the grand sacrifice from which the universe originated. It also explains the ingredients for the sacrifice, which were the Purusha himself, the seasons, of which spring was the ghee, summer was the summit or fuel, and autumn was the oblation. There were 7 enclosing sticks, which consisted of the 5 elements, and day and night. There were 21 fuel sticks that consisted of the 5 sensory organs, 5 working organs, 4 divisions of the mind, 5 vital breaths, dharma and adharma. And lastly, the fifth verse explains the output of this grand sacrifice, which included animals such as cows, butter, curd, villages, forests, brahmanas, vaishyas, shudras, and kshatriyas, the Vedas, and the sun, moon, wind, fire, and Indra. Now we will glorify the Lord through the recitation of the Purusha Suktam prayers. Everyone is welcome to join us and recite along with us.
Om Tat Shat.
धीमहि गातुं यज्ञाय
Hare Krishna. So the next topic will be why deity worship and the paraphernalia used in deity worship and what's the cause. And it'll be presented by Parth, Anish, and Manya, and myself.
Deity worship is a bona fide process through which an insignificant being can offer their love to the Supreme and Unlimited Lord Sri Krishna. In the Sanskrit definition, Archana is to offer articles with mantras and preliminary purificatory activities. The deities are not made of Arsha Vigraha, which means they're not made of material. The bona fide materials they're made out of are stone, wood, metal, earth, paint, sand, mind, and jewels. Idol worship versus deity worship. So the question may arise, can anyone take a statue and accept it to be the Lord? The answer is no. Srila Prabhupada gives this mailbox analogy. The mailbox has to be authorized by the post office to be used. You cannot just drop your mail into any box and expect it to be delivered. Similarly, you cannot offer worship to any statue and think it's the Lord. Demigod worship. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Sri Krishna says that demigod worshippers want a quick fulfillment of material desires. And in the 9th chapter, it is said that the demigod worshippers are less intelligent and they will keep falling through the cycle of birth and death. So how do we know that the deities are not just statues? Well, there are many such stories as these. There is Kirchur Gopinath, Sakshi Gopal, and many more. I'll just shortly narrate the Sakshi Gopal story. So there were 2 Brahmanas who went on a pilgrimage to North India. They found a deity Gopal there were 2 Brahmanas. One was young and he was from a low class, and the other one was old and from a high class. The young Brahmana always served the old Brahmana so that the old one would not have any distress through the yatra. So the old Brahmana decided to give his daughter in marriage to the young Brahmana and made a promise in front of the deity Gopal. When he came back home, his relatives said, if you give our daughter to this man, we will drink poison and die. The next day, the young Brahmana came and he asked for the daughter, but the son of the old Brahmana chased him away with a stick. The young Brahmana was detached and did not want any woman, but he just wanted to keep the old Brahmana's promise because he had made it in front of the deity. So then he went all the way back to Vrindavan and started talking to the deity, but the deity responded, I've never heard of a deity walking from one place to another. But the Brahmana said, if you are talking, then you can walk. So then he finally came to Vidyanagar, and then soon after, the marriage was done. The next part will be by Anish, and it's about Brahminical culture.
So now that we know why we do deity worship, I'm going to be talking about who performs deity worship. Traditionally, in Vedic culture, deity worship is performed by Brahmanas. So let us understand who is a Brahmana. So without Brahminical culture, society becomes animal society. So who is a Brahmana? A Brahmana is a symbol of Sattvaguna, which is the mode of goodness. A Brahmana, it also represents the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A Brahmana is one who has the knowledge of a Brahmin, and a Brahmana is the most highest and most respected amongst the 4 social orders of society. These divisions are created on the basis of the qualities of the person and his tendency to pick up a particular work and are not based on birthright. For example, the son of a doctor does not have to become a doctor. Even though there are higher chances of him becoming a doctor, unless he becomes a doctor, he cannot be accepted as such. While on the other hand, the son of a farmer can become a doctor if he has the right qualifications. Similarly, one cannot automatically become a Brahmana. A Brahmana is usually born into a Brahmin family and must have the right Brahminical qualifications. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 42, describes the Brahminical qualities in this way. Samo dhamastapa saucham shantir arjavamevacha jananam vijanam ashtakyam brahma karma svabhavajam. This verse describes the Brahminical qualities as being peaceful, having control of the senses, purity, austerity, honesty, tolerance, knowledge, and wisdom and religiousness. Taking shelter under a bona fide spiritual master is very important for spiritual advancement. Srila Prabhupada mentions this analogy in relation to this. Just like metal turns into gold through an alchemical process, similarly, one who is properly trained and initiated by a bona fide spiritual master immediately becomes a Vaishnava Brahmin. The spiritual master initiates his disciples through Vaishnava Diksha, also known as Pancha Samskara. And this consists of taking a Vaishnava name, wearing Vaishnava symbols, wearing Vaishnava tilak, and also receiving Vaishnava mantras, and also learning from the spiritual master about the method of deity worship. The importance of a Vaishnava Brahmin is seen in the pastimes of Sri Madhavendra Puri installing Gopal deity on the top of Govardhan Hill. After installing Gopal deity on the top of Govardhan Hill, Sri Madhavendra Puri initiates some Brahmins into Vaishnava culture before engaging them into deity worship, or engaging them into the worship of the Lord. Hare Krishna. So now Now Monisha and Manya will be talking about Pancharatrika and Bhagavata Vidhi.
Okay. So in this picture, as you can see, there's 2 tracks, and for a train to function, you need 2 tracks. For it to move, you need 2 tracks. So just like that, in our devotional lives, we also need 2 tracks, and that is known, one of them is the Pancharatrika Vidhi, and the other is the Bhagavad Vidhi. And these two tracks, we can't just have one and function our lives with it, because just like that, we can't just have one track and expect the train to move. So we need both, and without one, the other is incomplete.
So the first track is known as the Bhagavad Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi is to simply do Shravanam Kirtanam and chant the holy names of the Lord. Purna Swami also explains that this system is meant to assist people in Kali Yuga and calm their agitated minds. In this way, they can be uplifted to the platform of Sattva Guna and can then practice substantial Nam Japa. As also stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Klau Vanaste 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 Gatiranyata. Meaning that in this age of Kali, the only means of deliverance is to chant the holy names of the Lord. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. However, because of our material contamination, we are not able to chant every day and engage in the process of Shravana Kirtanam. Hence, it's advised by the authorities to perform deity worship as an additional step towards our sadhana or practice.
So now Pancharatrika Vidhi is also known as Archana, which is deity worship. And the word Pancha means 5 and Ratrika means nights. And so there's a story that...
So once 2 demons stole all the knowledge from Lord Brahma, and to get it back, Lord Narayana had to recite the same knowledge back to Brahma, and it took him 5 days to do so. Hence, there are 5 aspects of deity worship that we follow.
And Pancharatrika Vidhi, it helps us reduce our contaminations and slowly develop the right attitude to come and serve the deities.
So all the 5 aspects of deity worship are included in the Panchanga Puja, and they're also known as the activities of deity worship. So the first aspect of deity worship is known as Abhigamana, which means how you simply approach the temple. Bathing, putting on fresh clothes, putting on tilak, putting on Tulsi beads is also included in this category. Also performing Mangal Aarti, cleaning the temple, as well as decorating the temple is also included.
The second step is Upadana, which is to collect materials or articles to offer to the Lord, and this can also include fresh fruits and vegetables, which can be offered as bhoga to the Lord, and also water and flowers as Aarti for the Lord. And the third one is yoga. And as many of us know, yoga is not just a physical thing. It can also be from the mind, which is also known as Manasa Yoga. And Manasa Yoga helps us, we can meditate on the spiritual master and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the deities to set us in the right mood to serve them. And so we can get rid of the contaminations that are going through our mind.
The fourth aspect of deity worship is known as Irja, which is known as worshipping the Lord. As you may have noticed, all the 3 aspects didn't include anything about worshipping the Lord. That's why this aspect is mainly misconcepted as the only thing deity worship consists of. However, deity worship is much more than just Irja, which is worshipping the Lord.
And the last one is Svadhyaya, which is also, sometimes we don't have the taste to chant. And that's why we have scriptures and books that Srila Prabhupada wrote for us. And we can read a page a day because it also helps us, we can slowly develop a taste to chant. And reading also gives us knowledge and helps us in many aspects of our lives.
From this analysis, we can understand that deity worship is not just about offering articles to the deity. It's a much broader thing, and it includes all the 5 aspects of deity worship that we just mentioned. A quote from the Chaitanya Charitamrita states, "Sometimes neophyte devotees think that they can continue the Shravana Kirtana process without worshipping the deity. But the execution of Shravana Kirtana is meant for highly developed devotees like Haridas Thakur, who engage in the Shravana Kirtana process without worshipping the deity. However, one should not falsely imitate Haridas Thakur and abandon deity worship. Just try to engage in Shravana Kirtana. This is not possible for neophyte devotees."
So now that we have talked about why we do deity worship and who does deity worship, we're going to cover exactly how deity worship is done. And the topic that we are going to talk about is waking up and putting the deities, preparing for worship, and then waking up and putting the deities to rest, then the types of bhoga offerings and bhoga offering, and then the Aarti, concept and types, the dressing and bathing of the lordship, and Tulsi worship.
Hare Krishna. I'll be talking about preparing for worship. So the things you should do before worship, such as like getting up in the morning, what you should do then, as well as achaman. What? So morning routine. So one should be well rested. You should sleep no more, no less than 6 hours. And upon awakening, you should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or at least Krishna, 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 after which you should offer obeisances to your spiritual master. So rise and clean yourself and rid yourself of any impurities. So put on new and clean clothes and perform achaman, which I shall describe soon. So after wearing new clothes, apply pundra tilak, which is applying tilak on different places on the body while chanting mantras as described in the image to the right side of my slide. So what is achaman? A devotee, you're supposed to perform achaman before performing any religious activity, including but not limited to Aarti. So achaman is sipping purified water infused with the power of mantras. The water should be cool, fresh, without foul odor, and untouched by fingernails, hair, or any other impure item. And a devotee should sit on an asana while doing this. Performing general achaman. So general achaman is a shortened version of Vaishnava achaman, which we shall demonstrate soon. So take water in your right hand and direct the mantra into the water before sipping it. So to chant Om Keshavaya Namaha, sip the water, Om Narayana Namaha, and sip the water, and then Om Madhavaya Namaha before sipping the water once again. So now we shall all demonstrate Vaishnava achaman. Which one is my right? I think this is one. So Vaishnava achaman is a full version of the general achaman. So this is what you should generally do instead of the general and shortened achaman. But if you don't have time, then you can do the shorter achaman, which is general achaman.
Haribol. So now we will be demonstrating Vaishnava achaman. So when we're doing Vaishnava achaman, we must also remember to keep the area free from hair, bone, and ashes. One should also not perform Vaishnava achaman with socks on. And if one does not have an asana to sit on, there is one more pose one can do, and that looks like this. So if one does not have an asana, one should perform Vaishnava achaman doing this. Okay, now we will begin. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayana Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Vishnave Namaha. Om Madhusudanaya Namaha. Om Trivikramaya Namaha. Om Vamanaya Namaha. Om Sridharaya Namaha. Om Rishikeshaya Namaha. Om Padmanabhaya Namaha. Om Damodaraya Namaha. Om Sankarshanaya Namaha. I forgot. Om Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Sankarshanaya Namaha. Om Pradyumnaya Namaha. Om Aniruddhaya Namaha. Om Purushottamaya Namaha. Om Adhokshajaya Namaha. Om Narsimhaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Janardhanaya Namaha. Om Upendraya Namaha. Om Hare Namaha. Om Krishnaya Namaha. Om Tad Vishnu Yad Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya Diviva Chakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagravamsa Samindhate Vishnu Yad Paramam Padam. And now that one has done Vaishnava Achaman, one can use this Samanya Arghya water and invoke all the holy rivers into this water. And then using this water, one can purify all of one's articles, which will be used for deity worship. Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sanidhim Kuru. And now Advait will describe waking up and putting deities to rest.
Hare Krishna. I'll be talking about waking up and putting the deities to rest and the procedure to do that. Oftentimes, this is a really important part of deity worship because we need to understand that the Lord is an actual being, not just a piece of wood or stone that we see, that it's an actual person that we need to take care of. And so waking up the deities, this is the beginning procedure for waking up the deities. Before waking up the deities, you can perform achmana, offer obeisances to the picture of your spiritual master, reciting his pranam mantra, and seek blessings for doing this, waking up the deities. And feel free to chant the mantras with me. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Before and Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine. And if you're not yet initiated, you can consider you can say Srila Prabhupada's name instead, as he's guiding all of us. He's all of our spiritual masters. Before entering the room or where the altar is, draw the Lord's attention by knocking anywhere or clapping your hands, bringing the Lord's attention. Waking up the deities beginning procedure. Open the door and turn on the lights and chant the names of the deities in a festive mood. Jai Shri Shri Gauranga, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Radha Krishna Ki Jai. If you're worshipping deities other than this, you can also chant their names too. If there are ghee or oil lamps on the altar, feel free to light them now. Waking up your spiritual master. While ringing a small bell with the left hand, approach your spiritual master's picture, touch his feet gently with the fingertips of your right hands, and request for him to rise by chanting Uttista Shri Guru Tyajanindam Ramaye, and meditate that he is actually rising in front of you and that you're seeing him in his real form. Waking up Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Approach the bed of Lord Nityananda first, touch his lotus feet and request him to rise. Uttista janaveshera yogendram tyajo prabho namno hate divyanaman sushralvardam vitashati. Now approach the bed of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, touch his feet and request him to rise as well. Uttista Gauranga Jahinindra Prabhu Sutachista Priyamena Trailokan Kuru. Waking up Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. Next, approach the bed of Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, and Srimati Subhadra. Touch their lotus feet, first Jagannath, then Baladev, then Subhadra, and chant Tyajanindram Jagannatha Shri Baladeva Tata Jagannatha Cha Subhadre Utishta Sittabhade. Now, waking up Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Now approach Lord Krishna's and Lord Radharani's bed, touch their lotus feet, first Lord Krishna's, then Lord Radharani's, and request them to rise. Go Patum Gulunanda Yashoda Nandanardana Utista Radhaya Shardam Pratarasi Jagatpate. Now waking up the deities, ending procedure. Place any small deities that are in bed back on the altar. If there are only large deities, meditate on waking them up and leading them from their beds to the altar. At this time, you can replace any crowns, turbans, or chadars that are part of your deity's night dresses. After removing any remaining flowers or garlands from the previous days, clean the deity room floor and then wash your hands. Now that the deities have been awakening, offer obeisances to them outside the altar area. Putting the deities to rest, beginning procedure. Perform achmana. Offer obeisances to your spiritual master and reciting his pranam prayers. Pray for his blessings to assist you in waking up, in putting the deities to sleep. And if you're not yet initiated, consider Srila Prabhupada as your spiritual master. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine. Now while ringing a bell, call out the names of the deities. Jai Shri Shri Gauranga Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Radha Krishna Ki Jai. Now putting the deities to rest, beginning procedure. If possible, dress your deities in night dresses. Place each deity's bed beside or below the altar on a table. Make sure the bedding is plush and smooth because we're treating the deities as if they're real in front of our eyes. Bring their lordship shoes from the altar to the bed, thinking that you are you're escorting the deities to their beds. Place the shoes next to the bed on a small mat, pillow, or table. Offer flowers to the lordships and massage their feet nicely. Cover the deities in blankets according to the room temperature. Putting the deities to rest. For Radha and Krishna, chant Agacha Santana Priyabhisa Keshava Divya Pustadanam Sukam Vihara Madhava. For Lord Jagannath, Srimati Subhadra, and Lord Baladev, chant Agacha Sanastanam Agacha Nijasayam Cha Subhadra Medanam Kuru. And for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant Agacha Vishwanasanam Sagane Sahagauranga Shanam Vishram Sukhena Leelaya Vihara Prabhu. Now for Lord Nityananda, chant Agacha Sanastanam Nityananda Jagadguru Tavarupe Mahe Vishnor Anante Sanam Kuru. And for your spiritual master, chant Agacha Sanastanam Saganaya Guru. And if you notice, for waking up the deities, we went in an ascending order, and now for putting the deities to sleep, we went in a descending order for chanting the mantras. Now putting the deities to rest, ending procedure. Turn off the altar lights, walk out of the room quietly, turning off the room lights as you do so. Offer obeisances to your spiritual master. If you have removed any clothing or jewelry from the Lord, place them in their proper storage spot, regarding them as Lord paraphernalia. And now Madhav will be presenting offering bhoga. The downer will go next.
So now I'll be talking about why do we offer bhoga and how we do so. So first of all, why do we offer bhoga? So we offer bhoga because we treat the deities as if they are our guests and we respect them. So for example, whenever a guest comes to your home, you always give them something to eat. It's a sign of respect. So in the same way, we offer bhoga to to the deities regularly because we treat them with respect and as if they are our guests. So there are different times and types of bhoga offerings. So the first is Mangala Bhoga, which is early in the morning, right after the deities wake up. And the second is Pratar Bhoga, which is breakfast as we know it. And then comes Raj Bhoga, which is the main bhoga of the whole day. And this is at noon, lunchtime. And then there's Vaikalika Bhoga, which is late in the afternoon, which is a small snack for the deities. And then Sandhya Bhoga is in the evening. It's dinner, basically. And Ratri Kalina Bhoga is right before the deities go to rest. It's a small snack. So throughout offering bhoga, we have to remember that we're assisting our spiritual master in serving the Lord. So because we cannot directly approach the Lord, and that's why we go through the Guru Parampara. So we should always request our spiritual master's blessings, or Srila Prabhupada if you're not initiated. And so you purify the items. Wait, actually, this slide order is wrong. Sorry. Okay. So first you prepare. You perform achaman because you always should be purified before doing anything, any deity worship. After that, pay obeisances to your spiritual master and request his blessings for performing for offering the bhoga. After that, draw the attention of the Lord by making a sound like clapping your hands or ringing a bell. And we do this because we treat the deities as if they're actually there. So we want to inform them before we I guess disturb them or enter into the room. And then enter into the room in an ecstatic mood. So like said previously, you should be chanting the names of the deities like Jai Jagannath, Jai Baldev, Jai Subhadra Mai. And then clean the areas and tables, and then wash your hands, of course, and arrange the eating area or the bhoga offering area. The slides got in the order. So after that, bring the plates for the offering, and then sprinkle a few drops of achmana water with the achmana spoon in your right hand on each food item to purify the items. And then make sure there's a Tulsi leaf on each item because the Lord doesn't accept bhoga without Tulsi leaves. So we always want to make sure there's a Tulsi leaf on each item. And then after that, you invite the deities. So you first offer your spiritual master an asana or a seat. And then in ascending order, offer asanas to the deities and invite them to have their meal. So the asana can be anything like petals if you have smaller deities, or you can even mentally offer these asanas and mentally escort the deities to have their meal. So like you should be in that mood. And after that, chant the following prayers 3 times each while ringing a bell. So for your spiritual master, you chant his pranam prayers, whatever they are. And then for Srila Prabhupada, you chant Srila Prabhupada's pranam prayers. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. After that, you chant Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayers. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurya Tushe Namaha. And then after that for Lord Krishna. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagad Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So afterwards, leave the area and meditate on the Lord having the bhoga. And also, if you're initiated, you can chant your Gayatri mantras at this time. And after a set time, usually 15 to 20 minutes, this should be consistent, return to the altar. And again, ring a bell or clap your hands to inform the deities that the bhoga offering is done. And accept the bhoga as prasadam and then reset everything back to its original place, like clean the tables and then arrange the area again. So that's it for the procedure for offering bhoga. And now we'll be doing how to offer Aarti by Manisha and Niharika.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, my name is Niharika. And we're going to be explaining the types of Aarti and the concept of Aarti.
So what is Aarti? Aarti is an act of love. So we get everything from the Lord, and we're just offering back to Him to show Him how much we love and care. And for example, like if a daughter goes to her father and asks for some money, and she goes to the store with the money and she buys something, and she comes back and it was a cake, and before she takes a bite of the cake herself, she offers it to her father. And this is just a simple act of love. Rather than taking it for herself first, she offers it to her father. So this is what we're trying to do to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever we have, we just want to offer it back because it's provided by Him. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the 7th chapter, the 4th verse, it says, Bhumirapona lovayu kamano buddhirevacha ahankara itiyame bina prakritir ashtada. The translation is earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 compromise as my separated material energies. And in this verse, Krishna talks about the 5 gross elements and the 3 subtle elements, and we will go more onto this in the later slides.
So now that Manish has explained why we do Aarti, I'm going to explain what exactly is Aarti. So Aarti is a reception and welcoming ceremony for the Lord. And when we perform this Aarti, all the demigods, they come down along with Brahma. And this is stated in the Gora Aarti where it says, Aarti Karina Brahma Adi Devagane. And Aarti is a purifying process which is dispelling all inauspicious elements and influences.
So the first item that is used throughout Aarti is a bell, and we ring it constantly in our left hand while offering the articles with our right hand. And so
the next thing we do is, even before we start the Aarti, we do Vaishnav achaman because it is a purifying process.
And we blow the conch 3 times, and it is like an invocation through the sound.
So the next thing we offer is the incense. And the incense we offer because it is providing like a nice fragrance.
And preferably we try to do odd numbers of incense. In this slide, we put the wrong picture, but there should be 3, or like there should always be an odd number. And same with the next one. The next one is a ghee lamp, and if you could see carefully, it's an odd number. So we always try to use odd numbers.
So we offer the ghee lamp because it allows us to see the form of the Lord. The next item we offer is the arghya, and the arghya invokes auspiciousness, and it's also a sign of respect.
And the next item
is the vastra.
Yeah, and it's to welcome, like it's like a welcoming
it's
to
like, yeah, you use the vastra to honor your important guests, and it's a tradition in India to give vastra to your guests, and it's a sign of respect too. And then we offer the flowers to the Lord, the pushpa, and it's actually Krishna's favorite item in the Aarti.
The next is a chamra, and this is used throughout the year, and it's just like a fan. So.
And it keeps pests away. Mm-hmm. The last thing is the fan, and it's only used in the hot seasonal summers and the hot weather, and it's like a kingly service to Krishna, and it provides a cooling effect.
And so this is how a deity plate typically looks.
So the actual process of doing the Aarti. So before you begin Aarti, you do Vaishnav achaman, and this is an achaman cup. And we already demonstrated the Vaishnav achaman, so that's what it looks like. The next thing is the conch, and we blow the conch 3 times to begin the Aarti. Then we offer the incense, and the incense is offered 7 times around the body. The next thing is the ghee lamp, And we offer that 4 times around the feet, 2 times around the navel, 3 times around the face, and 7 times around the body. Then we offer the argya, and that is offered 3 times above the head and 7 times around the body. Then the vastra is offered 7 times around the body. Then the pushpa, which is also offered 7 times around the body, and the chamara, you just fan it before to end off the Aarti.
So order is important.
Throughout the Aarti, we have to maintain a specific order, and it's an important aspect because first you offer all the paraphernalia to your guru, then Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya, and you offer it to them in the mood of, please help me assist you in this service, and please bless me so I can do it properly and in the right way.
Right attitude as well.
Yeah. And then you offer the articles to the main deity, then the Lord's associates, then you go through the Guru Parampara, and you offer all the articles to the assembled Vaishnavas as prasad.
And so these are just some facts about deity worship. And each offering is made by moving it in 7 circles, starting from the Lord's lotus feet to his lotus face. And even sometimes when we come in, most devotees take darshan from the lotus feet and progressing towards the Lord's face. And we always ring the bell while we're offering all the items. And the ghee lamp is a special item because anyone who sees the Lord's lotus face during Aarti is relieved of all sinful of all past activities, reactions.
So there are 2 different types of Aarti. The first one is Dhupa Aarti and the second is the full Aarti. And the Dhupa Aarti is performed at, if you don't have too much time to do Aarti, and it depends on your time availability. So the 4 items that you offer in the Dhupa Aarti are the incense, flowers, chamara, and the fan in the hot weather. And the full Aarti consists of all the things that are on the plate that we already mentioned, which were the incense, ghee lamp, argya, the vastra, pushpa, chamara, and fan in the hot seasonal summers and weather. So the Aarti was like a ceremony for the Lord, and another thing that we do, like a ceremonial thing, is dressing and bathing the Lord, which will be explained by Anshu.
Haribol, so now I will describe how we can dress and bathe our deities. So I've created this simple acronym of 3 Ps for the formalities of dressing and bathing deities. So the first one is planning. So this is for planning when to polish our deities. So this depends on one's time and availability. So if you can't polish your deities every day, then you can do it once a week, twice a week, on the weekends, or what many devotees prefer to do is every Ekadashi. The next one is the process. So the process for bathing the deities is first one must sit on an asana, perform Vaishnava achaman, and then sprinkle the surrounding area with the achaman water while chanting the Mahamantra. And the final one is pranam, or asking for blessings from your spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada by ringing a bell in your left hand, offering flowers, and begging for their blessings, because this entire deity worship process is simply done as a service to our spiritual master, so we're asking for their blessings to assist them in this service. So now I'll go over the exact process for worshipping the deities. So the first one is to take and remove the deity's clothes, put them in a bathing receptacle, and massage them with fragrance oils and other fragrances. Then after that, one should polish the deities. This can be done by making a paste using powdered tilak or gopi chandan powder mixed with some lemon. Then one can take cotton balls and apply it over the deities to polish them. One should also remember not to put it on the deities' eyes, just to keep into consideration that we're treating the deities as people, and putting it on their eyes would harm them. Then after the polishing comes the prayers and the abhishek. So one can take the deities and put them into a bathing receptacle. With this, one can put water into a conch and put it onto the deities 3 times. While doing this, one can either chant the first 2 verses from the Brahma Samhita. One can also chant Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, or one could simply chant the Mahamantra. However, this process is simply done for metal deities, and it is recommended to do a different type of bathing for wooden deities, and this is called darpan snan. So for deities that are made of wood, one can perform darpan snan. So darpan means mirror in Sanskrit. So this basically means one can put a mirror in front of one's deities and bathe the mirror by putting water onto the mirror instead of the deities, because the deities' form is still being reflected onto the mirror. Then after one is done bathing the deities, comes drying. One can dry the deities by first taking them off of the bathing receptacle, using towels and cloths to dry them. Once the drying is complete, you can put on new clothing, and after you put on new clothing, you can put on ornaments. You can even offer garlands, tulsi, and sandalwood paste. In addition, there's some optional offerings one can do after drying the deities. One can offer incense while ringing a bell in one's left hand. One can also offer sweets, a fruit, drinking water, and even ghee in a camp or lamp. One can also offer bhoga using bhoga offering prayers. And finally, at the end of this entire process, one should beg for forgiveness for any offenses one may have committed during this process. And next, Anami and Avanish will describe the worship of Tulsi. The next slide.
Hare Krishna. Today we're going to be talking about Tulsi worship by Aname, and so Tulsi worship is an integral aspect of deity worship because the Lord does not accept any offering without the presence of Tulsi Maharani.
So in our agenda, we're going to be going over a couple of topics. So we're going to start off with who is Tulsi Maharani, then we're going to talk about why do we worship the Tulsi plant, and then we're going to talk about some of the items of worship, then some of the names of Tulsi Maharani, and then we're going to talk about offering Tulsi to Lord Krishna, and also rules and regulations, as well as prayers offered to Tulsi, and a quote by Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, so who is Tulsi Maharani and some interesting facts. Tulsi Maharani is an exalted devotee of the Lord, an indirect form of Lakshmi Devi, and the eternal consort of the Lord. Some interesting facts is that Tulsi Maharani's body is now the holy river Gandaki in Nepal. Her hair is the Tulsi plant, and her leaves are held sacred in all over the 3 worlds. A point to note is that she is the road to Krishna Prema because she will help you on your path home back to Godhead.
So next we're going to be talking about why do we worship the Tulsi plant. So the first and foremost reason on why we worship Tulsi Maharani is because Lord Krishna himself instructed us to do so. Also, all the scriptures suggest that one achieves complete perfection by worshipping Tulsi Maharani. The scriptures also suggest that in order to make progress on the path of devotion, one needs to achieve the mercy of Tulsi Devi. Also, one should understand that Tulsi Maharani is not ordinary and she is auspicious. The main reason why we worship Tulsi Maharani is because Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada instructed us to do so. And Srila Prabhupada instructed us to do so because he knew that it would be hard for us fallen souls to reach Krishna. So he advised worship on Tulsi Maharani. Because as mentioned in the previous slide, Tulsi Maharani is the road to Krishna Prema. And she will help you in your path of spiritual progress. So next are the items of worship. So as we can see in this picture here, there's a devotee who has a plate full of all the paraphernalia required for Tulsi worship. So the items of worship you need are an achaman cup full of water. You also need an incense, a ghee lamp, flowers, sacrificial offerings, and of course you need a bell to indicate your presence before Tulsi Maharani. So next we're going to talk about some of the names of Tulsi Maharani. There are many such names of Tulsi Maharani, but 4 really prominent ones are Vrindavani, which means one who first manifested in the holy forest of Vrindavan. Also there's Vrinda, which means the goddess of all plants. And at number 6 is Krishna Jivani, which means the life and soul of Lord Krishna. And the most common one is Tulsi, which means one who has no comparison.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about offering Tulsi to Lord Krishna, and some things about the care for Lord Krishna for the Tulsi leaves when we pick them. So when we pick the Tulsi leaves from Tulsi Maharani, we should wash them 3 times, and then keep them in a bowl of fresh water, and store them in the refrigerator. And if the Tulsi leaves are not kept in fresh water, they will turn limp and pale. And if not kept in the refrigerator, they'll turn brown. And one should change the water every day until one offers the Tulsi leaves to Krishna's lotus feet. So some things to know are that Tulsi leaves taken from Tulsi Maharani should be in a regular amount, so Tulsi Maharani feels regular. One should also be conscious of the condition of Tulsi Maharani. And if there are many leaves on Tulsi Maharani, one should take some. But if there are very less leaves on Tulsi Maharani, one should take none unless they're about to fall down. And Prabhupada has also stated that dried leaves are just as offerable as fresh green ones. Just in case if anyone wonders, are dried leaves not offerable? Okay, so now we're going to talk about rules and regulations for Tulsi worship. So one should not pick Tulsi leaves in the morning before sunrise, or in the evening after sunset. And one should also not pick Tulsi leaves on the Dwadashi Tithi, the 12th day. And one should also take special care not to inflict any pain on Tulsi Maharani by using scissors or knives to cut the leaves from Tulsi Maharani. And when one picks the leaves from Tulsi Maharani, one should recite the Shama Prarthana prayer, which we will be going on in the next slide.
So next we're going to be discussing the prayers offered to Tulsi Maharani. So there are many prayers that we offer to Tulsi Maharani, but these 2 are the most prominent ones. So I'll be saying the mantra. If you would like to, you can sing along. So the first one, Om Tulasiyamrita Janmasi Sadatvam Keshava Priya Keshavartam Chinomi Tvam Varada Bhavashobhane. The translation for this is, O Tulsi, you are born from nectar. You are always very dear to Lord Keshava. Now to worship Lord Keshava, I am collecting your leaves and manjaris. Please bless me. So this first sloka should be recited before picking the leaves of Tulsi Maharani, and you should be asking for the blessings of Tulsi Maharani to worship Lord Keshava. So the second shloka, as before, you could sing along. Chayanodbhava dukkham cha yadhridi tava vartate tatshamasva jaganmata vrinda devi namostute. The translation for this is, O Tulsi Devi, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Kindly forgive me if I have caused you any pain by picking your leaves and manjaris, O Mother of the Universe. The second shloka should be recited after picking the leaves of Tulsi Maharani, and you should be begging for the forgiveness if you've caused any pain to Tulsi Maharani, because she is a pure devotee of the Lord. Now we'll talk about a quote by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada states that Tulsi is auspicious in all respects. Simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing before, simply by hearing about, or simply by sowing this tree, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with Tulsi Maharani in the above-mentioned ways lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world. So the deeper meaning that Srila Prabhupada is trying to convey in this quote is that ultimately Tulsi Maharani is a pure devotee of the Lord, and having any sort of association with Tulsi Maharani can purify us.
So in conclusion, if one has a sincere prayer and they offer it to Tulsi Maharani, Krishna will bless them. Tulsi Maharani ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Our final topic for today will be Vedic astronomy. So Vedic astronomy is the science of telling time, and telling time is very essential because it helps us predict important events, such as festivals in which we do special worship to the deities. So we'll be covering 4 topics today: Vedic zodiacs, the movement of the sun and moon, the Panchanga, and Vaishnava festival months. So like we have zodiacs in our solar calendar, we have Rashis in our Vedic calendar. So Rashis represent the body parts of the Kala Purusha. Mesha represents the head, and Meena represents the lotus feet. So the movement of the sun. So when the sun enters, so the sun moves in a counterclockwise way. So when the sun enters Capricorn, or the winter solstice, to when the sun enters Cancer, is called Uttarayana. And when the sun enters Cancer to when it enters Capricorn is the Dakshinayana. And when the sun enters Libra and when the sun enters Aries, those are called equinoxes, meaning we have equal lengths and equal length days and nights. And then in the fifth canto, 21st chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that the movement of the sun directly relates to how long our days are. So when it moves north of the equator, we tend to have longer days and shorter nights. And when it moves south of the equator, we have shorter days and longer nights.
And then there are 2 ayanas. So an ayana is like a period of time that consists of 6 months of the year. And the first ayana is Uttarayana, and Makara Sankranti marks the start of this. And this is when the sun enters Capricorn, and Capricorn is the winter solstice. And this marks auspiciousness and is a good time to start anything. And also, it marks the growing season for crops. And then there's Dakshinayana, and Karka Sankranti marks the start of this. And sun enters Cancer, and Cancer is the summer solstice. And this is the other 6 months of the year. So in the Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 24th verse, it says, "Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god, in the light and an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north." So there's the movement of the moon. So the first 15 days when the moon's getting bigger, which is called waxing, it's Shukla Paksha and until the full moon. And after the full moon, when the moon's getting smaller, which is called waning, it's called Krishna Paksha. So there are lunar days, and 1 Tithi is 1 lunar day. And there are 30 lunar days in 1 lunar orbit. So a 12-degree lunar orbit around the Earth span is 1 day. So since there are 15 days in 1 Paksha, 12 times 15 is 180. So that marks the full moon. And the next 180 degrees is Shukla Paksha, and those 280 degrees create 360 degrees. So that's 1 entire orbit.
So the reason we have to learn all these different terms is because we want to figure out when our festivals come. Because during festivals is when we have more worship for the Lord, where we do fasting. So it's important to know when they fall and what to do. So these are a list of a few Vaishnava festivals that we're going to see now. So as a quiz, the first one is following in the Rashi of Rishabha and the month of Vaishakha, which is the one that's coming up. What's that? Narasimha Chaturdasi. So that's the first one, and it falls in the Shukla Paksha, and the Shukla Paksha is considered the more auspicious fortnight of the lunar month. The Krishna Paksha is the more inauspicious one, but we see that Krishna Janmashtami falls on Krishna Paksha, and actually Gaur Purnima also falls on Krishna Paksha, which is very interesting. So we can see these are the festivals, and we almost have a festival every month, which is amazing. The Panchanga is a calendar that we use, and this is a Vedic almanac with all the different dates and important times. So there are 5 elements of it. The first one is the Tithi, which we've already talked about, 1 lunar day. The second one is Avara. Avara is the days of the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like that. A nakshatra is a constellation. So when we go through the zodiacs, the constellation or the stars that are the backdrop of that zodiac, that's what we call a nakshatra. And everyone has their own nakshatra or star constellation. A yoga is an auspicious day, like a festival or a Ekadasi, something like that. A karna is a half day. And sometimes we have those half days where we see that 2 lunar days fall on the same day. That's what a karna would refer to. A very important part about astronomy is eclipses, because on those days we have certain rules that we must follow. Like normally we don't eat food because it's contaminated because of the loss of light, because the sun is our main source of energy here, and when we lose that energy, it marks like the prevail of evil. So it's important that we follow some rules. However, deity worship still continues, even though it might be behind closed doors, because the deities are not affected by this. So how an eclipse happens is that there are these two lunar nodes, or two shadowy points in the moon's orbit, where if the sun, moon, and the shadowy place align, it's an eclipse. And those 2 points are called Rahu and Ketu, or the north and south lunar node. And when they align, we have an eclipse. And there's a lot of science with it, and why and how it aligns, when it happens. It's just that we know it's inauspicious, and it's not a great. We should just chant, pray, and do lots of devotional service. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born on an eclipse, and he was trying to make a point that on an eclipse, Brahmanas cannot do anything, and only the holy name can save us. And that's the point he was trying to make. That in this age of Kali, there are no Brahmanas, so we must make a point by just chanting the holy names of the Lord. Now Anshu will conclude the presentation.
Haribol. So now to conclude this presentation, we'd like to thank Vaisheshika Prabhu, because it was his desire for this seminar to happen, and without all of his encouragement, we would not have progressed in this deity worship class. We'd also like to thank Rasa Mataji, who was one of our teachers for this year. She actually did a deity worship course in Mayapur, so with all of her expertise, we were able to progress. We'd also like to thank our Sheshri Mataji, who was one of our teachers who always gave inputs throughout the class. And our other teacher, Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu, who taught us the Purusha Shuktam. All of his very expert pronunciation helped us recite it. And so we discussed a lot of topics in this class, and it might be hard to digest. So we will be sending a process document so that you can have the exact processes, or all the processes that we described in this presentation, so you can start using it at home. Haribol. Are there any questions that any of you would like to ask to us? Yes, Prabhu.
So, if you are naturally left-handed, how do you offer? Do you offer with the left or with the right?
If you're naturally left-handed, I think you should still try to offer it with your right hand, because it's still, like, usually when you're left-handed, it's easier for you to write, but you should still be able to do the rest with your right hand.
Thank you.
For eclipses, I was wondering, like, why is the temple still closed? Because isn't the temple supposed to be an all-auspicious place? And I understand that, like, deity worship still goes on behind, but why can't the temple be open during an eclipse?
I'm not really sure. Every temple has their own standards for this thing. In India, we keep the temple open here, but sometimes in India they have different things. So I think it's you can choose. There's no hard, fast rule on this one.
Any other questions?
I would like to congratulate all the kids and the teachers who helped to put together this very fantastic, illuminating, and very nice, informative seminar. Thank you very much.
Can we all get in line? They will introduce themselves. This seminar would not be possible if it was not for all the hard work and planning and, complete determination and systematic approach of Raseshwari Leela Mataji. Let's have her here so, we can really appreciate. She's always been planning way ahead. She always wants to make sure that she'll be able to contribute to our kids' education and so that because you won't be able to fit here. So let's have a big hand for Raseshwari Leela Mataji. And as I always say, I don't think I will be able to run Sunday school without her. She's part of my brain, which doesn't work. I can do a lot of talking, but a lot of systematicness, structure, everything comes from her. So it's just that outwardly it seems to be me, but it's her. I want to thank Rasa Mataji, who is, please come on, Mataji. She did her deity worship seminar in Mayapur. Who else can we ask to train our kids? Amazingly. And Rasa Mataji, I've had the opportunity to work with her in different other projects. She's the most amazing, humble devotee. She doesn't want to come out at all. But there's a lot of her work in this teaching. Let's have a big hand for Rasa Mataji. I also would like to thank Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu. Please come over, Prabhu. He has taught the kids the beautiful Purusha Sukta prayers and also about astronomy. So, it's amazing. As growing up, I've always heard these prayers, but I never knew the meaning of it. And I love the way the whole presentation went, explaining the meaning and then saying the shlokas. Thank you, Prabhu. Let's have a big hand for Prabhu, please. Yeah, last, but I'll let them introduce themselves before I finish. So I'll just pass on the mic and then I would like to finish it. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Hare Krishna, my name is Manisha and I'm 14 years old.
Hare Krishna, I'm Manya and I'm 13.
Hare Krishna, I'm Niharika and I'm 12.
Hare Krishna, I'm Anish and I'm 12 years old.
Hare Krishna, I'm Aname and I'm 12 and I talked about Tulsi worship.
Hare Krishna, I'm Anshu and I'm 14.
Hare Krishna, I'm Rivan and I'm 12.
Hare Krishna, I'm Advaita and I'm 15.
Hare Krishna, I'm Advaita and I'm 13.
Hare Krishna, I'm Bharat and I'm 13.
Hare Krishna, I'm Madhav and I'm 14.
Hare Krishna, I'm Balaram and I'm 14.
Hare Krishna, I'm Parth and I'm 12.
Hare Krishna, I'm Avanish and I'm 12.
Let's have one more hand of applause to this beautiful presentation and the kids. I'd like to request, Prabhu and Mataji to come over, and I really, really want to thank them. If it was not for their encouragement, we would not be able to grow. I think, there are a lot of things that we have to improve, there's no question, but there are a lot of improvement also that we have been able to make, and we absolutely give the entire credit to Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for being the pillar and helping us grow in our Krishna consciousness. It could be the teachers and the kids. It would not be possible without both of you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm so impressed. It was such a wonderful presentation, very detailed and very enlightening. And you've all gotten so much better in your public speaking. From year to year, we can see the difference. And it's very encouraging how much, not just that you learn about the subject matter, but how you learn to present yourselves and do public speaking. It was very, very enjoyable to watch. You had shared a lot of knowledge, and I'm very proud of you all. It's amazing to watch you all grow up in this supported and Krishna conscious atmosphere that you all have taken to so nicely. Really, we love you, and we're so proud of you. Thank you.
The seminar today could be shown to others. Hopefully it was recorded well as a training and a foundational part. You covered the subject really well, and My realization watching you was that this is just your awakening of Krishna consciousness, because you're all coming deeply within the process at such a young age and doing it with such devotion. It's obvious that due to your momentum from previous lives, now you're just coming back into it. And I see that also ISV and wherever else you happen to go in the future will have well-trained devotees starting from a very early age. And I felt a lot of devotion for the subject also when you were presenting, and it really inspired me in the process of deity worship. I liked it very, very much. So thank you very much for giving your full attention to the subject matter and covering it so well. And thanks to all the teachers for covering such large amounts of information in various aspects of devotional service. It's not just bringing up all the youth, but the rest of the temple as well. I think we're all trying to keep up with them now. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Now we have cookies for everyone who participated.
Can we have a quick picture, Mataji? This class can take a picture with Prabhu, and then we will take with ours too. Yeah. Can the kids, can we have this as a Kaishara, and then we'll have another picture for Youth Club? Go ahead. Can we get closer? Yeah. Thank you so much. Youth Club? Youth Club.